In 1968, I arrived in New Bern with my mother and father and my 3 siblings, and I really didn't know much about the city of New Bern. Having moved from Raleigh to Smithfield to Lumberton to Fayetteville to New Bern, I just assumed from my culture of moving a lot that I would probably wind up 4 or 5 other places before I got to this age. So that was in 1968. First person I met in New Bern was Etheridge Ricks, who was the mayor, and he comforted me by how much I would like and learn to love this city. When I went to New Bern High School, knew nobody on campus. Actually, I did know one person, my brother, who was a year older. But I certainly started to learn a few things about New Bern High School. And one thing that I quickly found to be true about the high school, New Bern High School, was the leadership. And there was a gentleman there, a fellow student, class 72, by the name of Michael Morgan. And it was no surprise to any of us in that class of 72 members that live in New Bern, or when I see my classmates throughout North Carolina. If you said that Michael Morgan is on the Supreme Court now, nobody would be shocked by that. It was meant to be because of the leadership that Michael every day of the week manifested in what he did. Michael, you were a drum major, I believe, were you not? And I think if you ever had an opportunity to see Michael lead the musical procession of any parade or anything, you would know what I was talking about. I don't know if any of that's on video or not. There was another leader that a year or two later that I found very important to New Bern, and that was a person by the name of Leander Morgan, who came out to New Bern Senior High School on a disappointing historical moment in the history of the city. And again, Leander Morgan's leadership was not a series of leadership resume building things like Michael. It was an instantaneous response to a lot of adults that were acting more childish than a lot of the children at the high school. And Leander Morgan, who at that time was a funeral director and owner, part owner, whatever, Rivers Morgan, showed a unique leadership and a calming of this city and a reasonableness and a respectfulness to everybody involved that what could have been a very, very serious situation for New Bern became a civil moment that we all had a chance to refresh and rethink that event. So tonight is very historical. My father, J.C. Outlaw, was city manager of New Bern from 1968 to 81. And my dad so many times told me, which again, you know, who would know in 2021 that I would be the mayor, but he told me on so many occasions of the leadership that Mayor Leander Morgan and future Mayor Mayor Bengel would give to our city. And so, you know, my father had an opportunity to serve as the manager for your dad as an alderman and then mayor, and then Ella Bengel was the alderman. And Ella's historical thing, which will come out in a few minutes, I mean, a lot of your recreational amenities and the recreational programs in New Bern, Ella hit the ground and immediately started working on improving the recreational opportunities. And so, again, this is a historic night. So at this time, I want to turn this over to the historian of our City Hall, the Alderman for the First Ward, former Mayor Pro Tem Sabrina Bengel.
I would now like to introduce Justice Michael Morgan.
Alderman Bengel, thank you so much for the tribute as well as for this recognition. This is, Mr. Mayor and Board, a gorgeous, magnificent facility. And I congratulate all of you for your foresight and your wisdom in investing in this great edifice that represents our great city. Mr. Mayor, thank you as well for your gracious reminisced on how you and I were in the class of 1972 together. I remember fondly our time together. I remember your father very fondly as well, and his great service to this wonderful city of New Bern. And I thank you for your remembrances of that fateful day in January of 1971, a little over 50 years ago, when it was a dark day in New Bern, and my father had a chance to step forward and help to heal this city at a time when healing was necessary. So thank you for your kind words. This is a wonderful occasion, and I'm so grateful to be here. It's always wonderful to be in my hometown of New Bern. Wherever I go, and I've got a chance to travel this state quite a bit as a member of the Supreme Court of our great state. I always carry New Bern with me and always brag about New Bern, and unapologetically so. And being here tonight just reminds me of why I continue to do that. I represent my family. A number of us are here today in person. Some of us are unable to be here, but we are watching through the live stream. But I do want to mention that my mother, Barbara Morgan, who just turned 86 years old 2 days ago, is watching. She sends her fond remarks and hellos to all of you, and she wants all of you to know that this is a proud occasion for her this evening. As I think about what all of this represents, I want you to understand that Lee Morgan loved New Bern. He obviously loved New Bern because he relocated his family here from his hometown of Washington, D.C. in order to raise his young family in this great city, the hometown of my mother, his wife, Barbara Morgan. He also loved serving people. And in that respect, it's no surprise at all that he found a way to combine the two loves, the love for New Bern and the love for serving people, and serve the people of this great city. This city is a great one, and as I thank all of you for this recognition for our father, our grandfather, our husband. Once upon a time, it would have been fashionable to thank the city fathers for this. But there's someone who's also being honored tonight in the person of Bengel, who saw fit to also make sure that there was a pioneering spirit in the recognition of the diversity that my father promoted, that she also promoted. And it is a great pleasure to share this opportunity tonight as I congratulate and thank the Bengel family as well on this auspicious occasion of the remembrance and salute to Mayor Bengel. In looking at my father, and I'll try to be brief because I've been instructed to do so, it's hard to not reflect on the fact that when he combined his love of the city as well as his love of the people of this city, that I remember being barely a teenager and hearing him talk about the need to make sure that all of the streets of New Bern were curbed and guttered. I didn't know what that phrase meant, but I came to understand that what it meant was that all of the streets of New Bern needed to be paved in all of the neighborhoods of this great city, because no matter where one lived in this growing city, there was a need to make sure that there was not standing water that caused peril and inconvenience, no matter where one might live, where the rains would come and literally have standing water in them for days and even weeks afterwards. He had a vision to make sure that New Bern recognized all of its potential, not only for itself as a municipality, but also for all of its citizens, to make sure that everyone and everything could reach its fullest potential and to fulfill its destiny. I would hear him talk about the fact that there was a need for equal economic economic opportunities and equal educational opportunities and equal opportunities across the board for everyone when it came to employment. Because again, in terms of talking about the diversity that this great city enjoyed through Mayor Bengel and through my father, Mayor Morgan, that there was an understanding that there was an interrelationship. If the people prospered, then New Bern would prosper. And if New Bern prospered, then the people would prosper. That was what his vision was for New Bern. That's what his vision was for its citizens. And that's what he worked hard and sacrificed much to make sure that he contributed all that he could so that that vision that he had would have his footprint and his imprint all over it to the extent that he could allow it to occur. He loved this city. He loved his people. So I thank you, Mr. Mayor and Board of Aldermen, on behalf of my family, and behalf of the citizens, for making sure that there is a place for my father as the decades go by and as this city continues to fulfill its destiny, to celebrate diversity as Mayor Bengel brought forth and as Mayor Morgan brought forth and as all of us continue to bring forth. There's a strength in New Bern. There's a heritage in New Bern. There's a joy in New Bern. Lee Morgan loved New Bern, and Lee Morgan loved his people. Thank you for allowing his portrait to occupy a prominent place in these hallowed halls. And as he loved New Bern, and as he loved his people, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Board, for showing him love on this treasured